Welcome back. I'm Crystal with One Plant Short of Crazy. For this video today, we are going to be splitting all of this, and there's a Cebu pothos hanging from the table that you can't see quite yet. And we're going to make some individual pots, some mixed pots, some beautiful arrangements. We might even throw in some moss poles in there. And then, as always, anytime that you're doing any type of splitting, you run the risk of breaking off some of the vines and different things like that. So back behind here, I have some glass containers of all different sizes. I've got my kombucha containers. I like drinking kombucha, it's great for your stomach, but I also love the little glass bottles. They have a really wide hole on the top, so it makes it really easy to be able to put some good vines in there and to propagate. We're also going to use some leca, which is down on the floor. You can't see that yet, and we'll use leca in some of the ones if we have any break-offs. I do have one additional plant here that we're not splitting, but I have it just because I want to put it in with one of my mixes, and I'll show you. It is a beautiful Hoya, and this Hoya I do want to share with you because I got this from a local plant person that is fantastic in my Just Plants Idaho group, and we had a clipping exchange at the park. It was our first ever one. It was so exciting, and this was one of the ones that I grabbed, and I was so super excited because it's a very, very healthy Hoya. So we're going to put this in something that has a moss pole or something for it to climb up because it really wants support. You can see that it's extremely laggy here. I have a whole area without any leaves. Well, if I give this a good support that has some moisture in it, like a moss pole, which go ahead and check back through my videos. I have a video on how to create moss poles. The moss pole is going to give a little added moisture to this, which is going to encourage it to root and also give me more leaves. Plus, if it roots from any one of these node sections, it's going to give us a shoot off, kind of like this one here, that we can use to propagate and make more babies if we want. So this is more of a decorative piece that we're just going to add in. But in the mix here today, we've got some Mangala pothos. We've got a Birkin back here. We have my lovely mixed pot that has snow pothos, neon pothos, scindapsus. It's got some philodendron cordatums. It also has some Brazil philodendrons in here. And then somewhere in here, there were some Andesani. I'm not quite sure if it's still in there because I clipped it back quite a bit. The main part should be in there and eventually should grow a little bit more. I'm going to take some of the Monstera Andesani splits and I'm going to add them to a couple pots with this. We also have a lipstick plant up front here. Lipstick plants like to dry quite a bit in between watering. What's really nice is if you pair them with a plant like this that pulls a lot of moisture from the soil, that one's not going to get overwatered, neither is the Hoya, simply because we're going to treat it the same that we do for all of our others, and we're going to let the soil dry out in between. We also have a beautiful Brazil philodendron here. And then I also have on the side, which you can't see and I can't get to without, here we go. There we are. We also have some philodendron micans. Can't talk. So we're going to split this guy up too, and we're going to add him into a couple mixes, and we're going to make these beautiful. Now, one of the best things about this is when you split your plants up, you can make mixed pots, you can make more plants, you can do whatever you want with them, you can sell some, whatever it is. I'm that type of person that I like to sell so that I can buy more, but I'm also one of those plant parents that really has a hard time letting go of some of my favorite plants. So we're gonna pause for just a minute and then I will be right back, and we're gonna go ahead and clear this table off, and we're gonna start with the mixed pot first. Welcome back. So I've cleared off all the table here. Right now we're just focusing on this mixed pot, and I'm going to show you. It's got a bunch of stuff in here. I've had it in this pot for over a year, so I have no clue what the root ball is going to look like, no clue what to expect. The only thing I know is once I get in there and I clean off the roots, I'll be able to tell where I'm going to be able to split it. So that's what I want to show you guys. In order to split plants and take them out of the pot safely, the number one thing is you need everything wet. So that is why my dirt over here is completely dry, because afterwards these roots are going to be all sorts of nice and wet. We're going to add them into the dry. It's going to suck that extra moisture out. And then we're actually just going to water it like normal. So for this one, we're just going to take the hose. By now, you guys should know I absolutely love the hose. And we're just going to soak until the water starts running down. More than likely, it'll hit my shorts and I'll know that it's there. All right, we should be getting, let me let go. There we go. Yep, there it goes. So now it is super, super nice and wet. It's going to be really easy to pull it out of the pot. We're going to just go like this, let some of it drip down because I don't want a puddle of water on me when this is over. So all right, it's slowing down on the water now, so it's about ready for me to give it a hug. I always hug my plants to loosen the roots. So I'm going to get dirty. That's pretty much what happens every time. I'm going to get wet, but I'm going to hug it. So I'm going to take my plant, my pot, and I'm just going to give it a squeeze like that. So when you do that, it kind of loosens up the soil. It loosens up the roots. I'm going to flip it around and do it again. There we go. All right, so it should be loose enough to pull out. Now, since this is a whole pot of vines, it's a little bit more difficult than if you have like a monstera, let's say, because a monstera, you can grab the stem and you can pull it out. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay this on the side and we're gonna find a place that is the easiest for it to lay, which is right here. I'll destroyed a leaf while I was at it. That's all right. All right. So we're gonna go down like this. Make sure that we're not breaking any leaves. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna place our hand on this and then we're just gonna turn it upside down. Once we turn it upside down like this, we should have a nice little root ball and we can flip it right back over. So this is a lot of really good soil, and I have a container over here that I'm gonna capture the soil in. What I will do is I will end up baking this soil for 350 degrees for about 15 minutes. That way I can reuse the soil, because this is the same mix as this one here. It's a nice chunky mix. So what we're gonna do is grab the handfuls that kind of broke. We're gonna pick this root ball up. We're gonna put it into this container here, and then we're gonna work our magic and we're gonna break as much dirt away as we can. I'm gonna put this in here too. I don't like wasting dirt. If I can bake it and clean it, I will. If not, I'll put it in my little pile out in the garden. So after everything is done this year for our garden, we'll be taking it apart. We did one of those gardens where you have blocks and you put the wood down in them, so it makes it super easy. And we're just gonna create a nice little compost there. We'll use some of the worm castings that we talked about in my soil video. And put that for each layer that we have. So all we're gonna do is just gently break up this root ball so we can see kind of where the roots go to what plants, and then we're gonna decide what we're gonna do with it. So it's all based on what we have under the soil and how easy it is to split apart. So we're just gonna work our hands around, pulling the soil off. One of the easiest things to do, I'll show you here, is taking your hands to break up the root ball and going in the direct middle of it. All right, get a little bit more in here because I feel some more chunks coming off. And then what we'll do is use my notorious hose. Although this root ball is so amazing. All right, it is hose time. So I'm gonna move as much of the soil into my container as I can. And then the rest of it will just go behind me into my strawberries and my hibiscus and my lilac bush. All right, here we go for the fun part. All right, look at this baby. So we have a ton of roots here. We've got some beautiful growth, but I want to split it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the middle here, and I am going to work my fingers through all of this to try to get it broken. But before I do that, I need to make sure that all of these vines are separated properly so that I don't break them. Although if I do, we already talked about it, we have some jars over here. So you can see I've made a spot right in the middle. Now I'm just going to take my fingers and kind of dig, moving the roots aside. Oop, this one here definitely is a piece that needs to go to the right. So I'm going to find this vine. There we go. It's under another vine here. There we go. Getting it. Whew. We got a lot of babies here. This one's going all the way back. There we go. So now that we got this one, we should be able to untwine it. There we go. All right, so this one's going to the right side. And now we're just gonna slowly break it apart. You may break some of the roots. It's okay. You can also pull some of the roots from each side as you go. You'll be able to feel them. And I'm just going all the way down in the middle first. The next thing here is I'm going to try breaking up a little bit more dirt. Easiest way, pile the water right in the middle. All right, now we're just gonna start separating. I can put my hand completely in the middle, and I'm just gonna wiggle it, make sure I'm not breaking it, kind of spreading it out. Oh my goodness, we have a bed of roots here, guys. There we go. All right, so we're just gonna kind of break it apart. Now we have a row of roots. So from here, we can just do sections. So I want this section right here. I'm gonna make sure that I don't have anything twisted or held together that I need to keep together. This one has a root that's going over here, so I'm gonna try to kind of pull it out. Yep, got it. All right, so I want this section right here. Perfect. So here's one. It's got some neon pothos and scindapsus in there. So I am gonna do some mixes with some of the other plants, but this one has a massive root system. We're just gonna put it in this pot here and set it aside until we decide what we're gonna mix with it. This one I'm gonna split into two. So for here, whoop, we've got one here that's kind of got a little bit of a broken root system. So you can see that this one's not very rooted. So what we'll do with this one is we're gonna put this into this jar. So this will be a perfect one to go in the jar. This one's going to be water. So we'll do a water prop with that one and just kind of stick it over there. Next, I'm going to grab this little section here and we're just going to wiggle and wiggle. There we go. So this one has Philodendron cordatum. It looks like those are all cordatums, so I definitely want to mix. And it's got other roots here from some other ones. There we go. Yep, that's a cordatum too. So this one, we can actually put this in with here. We'll put it separate. So this one, I'll just take and put in this little container here until we decide what we're gonna do with it. So we got Philodendron cordatums there. Yep, those are all cordatums. And then this last one is my snow pothos. So we're gonna take the snow pothos and we'll put it into actually two different ones because we've got a good amount of snow here and I'd like to split it up into two different pots. So hold on just a second while I pull it apart. Oop, we've got one here that hasn't quite rooted. This is a new one. So this is one that was cut and trim and you can see that there's some more. This is a great one to be put in leca and put in this jar here. So this is gonna be a leca jar, but I do wanna split this. There we go. So that way I can have some snow pothos in two different pots. So let's see how much of this is actually the roots for this one. Break away a little bit more. You're gonna lose roots in the process of doing this. It's okay. It's not gonna be that big of a deal. So you can see that these roots are ones that have fallen off, but there's still a ton of roots left. So we're gonna put this snow pothos right in here. There we go. And then we'll put this snow pothos in another one. So give me just a minute. I'm gonna clean off the table. We'll come right back and we're gonna work on our next one. So here we go. Now we can take a look. I do not see any mushy in here. So thank goodness we didn't get any root rot, but we definitely have a Birkin that's not happy. So this one over here looks like it's kind of breaking. So I'm just going to break it off. Let's see here. Yeah, it's a little flimsy down there. I want this guy to root a little bit more. So we are going to do it in leca and we're going to put it in this tiny one here. We'll clean off the containers and all that, but we're definitely just going to do a little bit of recovery on this one. That one didn't seem very healthy. But let's split a couple so that we can actually pot these up. Ooh, that's a good little mix there. All right, we'll leave those ones. See if we can get this one split. Here we go. There we go. We got another one split. And this one looks really good. So I'm going to start a Birkin container. That one's going to go in there. Now these two, I have one that's really, really, really strong. It's got these little offshoots here that are kind of growing. And then this one wants to pull off. I didn't even have to pull it. So we also have some babies here, so it's given off some more babies. I want this one in leca because I want to help these babies grow and not die off. So we're going to put this one in here. Let's put them together so we don't get roots everywhere. All right. And then this one is absolutely gorgeous. You can tell there's another split there. We'll pull it. There we go, that other baby. So we're gonna put that one in here too, and this will be transferred into LECA and water. So we got all our little ones, and then this bad boy is absolutely beautiful, and we're gonna put it into a mixed pot. Now I wanna talk about the Birkin because you can propagate these by cuttings. So it's kind of hard to see, but there are some node points inside here where if I wanted to take a straight edge razor, that would be the only way to do it without really cutting things. I could take a straight edge razor and make it right in here and be able to get to that node point and propagate it. But I don't want to do that. I want this baby to grow extremely healthy, and it hasn't really grown over the last year. So we are going to give it a much better life, a much smaller pot, and mix it with some other plants so it helps it dry out. So we'll just take both of these and we're gonna put it into this pot here. have a massive amount of different viney plants to be able to put together in some gorgeous mixed pots. So I hope you guys come back for the next video and watch the potting up of all of the hard work that we just went through and did. I definitely had a lot of fun, made a mess. I am absolutely filthy. My husband came out while I was recording and saw the mess and walked back inside. So I will be back shortly with my next video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you learned a ton. As always, I am one plant short of crazy.